A fantastic talk, Dr. John. Thank you for everything. Probably we can get the idea that Rome was not built in a day, and maybe now the vaccine also might not be coming pretty much soon. But let's hope things fall exactly in place as we want. So thank you again. Please stick around. One more talk. After that, we'll have the panel discussion. So next, let me introduce again a very close friend of mine. Even though he's a senior, he's a very good friend to all of us. He's a guide and he's also a teacher. And actually, I have a short CV of Dr. L. Prakash, and the problem is it is 10 pages. And this is just short CV. So his achievements are phenomenal. His teaching is amazing, and he's master of many techniques which he has found out by his own methods. He is also a very well-known teacher. But on a simple basis, I like to introduce Dr. L. Prakash. He did his MBBS from the university, Jivaji University and GR Medical College, Gwalior. He did his MS Ortho from Georgia University and GR Medical College, Gwalior. MCH Ortho, he did from University of Liverpool. AO Fellowship, he did from Basel, Bern Davos, and Arthroplasty Fellowship from London. Sir, the I can't introduce, keep on introducing. So you are an amazing person. So kindly just take the mic.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for this massive introduction. I think without much ado, I will share my screen and get on with the talk. Let Mithun should raise your fingers when you hear my screen and the response. 1 minute, I increase the size. There we go. 1 minute. 75. Yes. Are you able to see my screen?
You can see, sir, but you're breaking up a little, sir. You're breaking up a little, your voice.
1 minute, Now is the audio clear and the screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. My name is Dr. Prakash, as Mithun has told you already, and my talk today is a very short one about immune response, COVID, and sequelae of the disease. First, simple basic question. What is immunity and how do we measure immunity? Only if I know the answer to the above can I argue that my immune system is stronger than yours or vice versa. The market is full of immune boosters and immune suppressants like hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, colchicine, steroids, etc. are being used for treatment. So what is the answer? Is it immune boosters or is it immune suppressants? Unless we answer the fundamental question, what is immunity and how can we measure immunity, we will not be aware of how our body is going to react to either SARS-CoV or any other such infective or inflammatory agent that comes to us. It is Sota who defined immunity as the capability of human body to handle stress. Very simple fundamental definition. Immunity is a capability of human body to handle stress. Dr. Philip had already told you with an exotic nice drawing about what exactly the process of immunity was. This is going down more basic, and the better one can handle stress, he or she is said to be having a better immunity. There is nothing called a low immunity and high immunity. This is a fallacious statement. There is nothing called a high immunity or low immunity. There is only a stable immunity or an unstable immunity. Labile immunity or stable immunity. are expected to have a stable and gradual response to the stress we undertake in day-to-day life. If you look at this curve, the stresses which we face will face these. The normal immunity will be this. We need at least the yellow line as a basic immunity to survive it, else you will die. A person with labile immunity has a red line or even higher. What is stress? An abnormal environment or a sudden change in weather, food, air, pollution levels, injury-generated inflammation, infection-generated inflammation. All of these produce stress. We all face stress of various levels in our day-to-day life, and our body responds accordingly. If the body starts responding more intensely as regard to the stress, we call it a labile or hyperactive immune response, which is unwanted, as when the body goes into an overkill mode, it harms itself. When there is a reactive leukocyte proliferation, the secretion and death of leukocyte causes the intense cytokine storm. As Dr. Philip had already said, cytokine storm is mediated by B lymphocytes, and innate cytokine storm is mediated by granulocytes. An immune system contains both innate and adaptive components. The innate system in humans and primarily primates comprises of primitive bone marrow cells that are programmed to recognize foreign substances and to react against them. The adaptive system, which is a more intelligent system, is composed of more advanced lymphatic cells that are programmed to recognize self-substances and not react. The reaction to foreign substances is etymologically described as inflammation, meaning setting on fire. The non-reaction to self-substance is described as immunity, meaning to exempt or as in immunotolerance. These two components of the immune system create a dynamic biological environment called a state of health. Health can be seen as a physical state where a self is immunologically spared and foreign is inflammatorily and immunologically eliminated. Disease can arise when the foreign cannot be eliminated or the self is not spared. Normally, immune system should recognize us from them. The system then acts against them while sparing us. In stress, the higher response produces a chaotic state where advanced lymphatic system of the body is no longer able to distinguish between us and them. And that is the beginning of a cytokine storm. This is not an innocuous disease. It may be asymptomatic in 85% of the people affected. But COVID-19 or the Wuhan virus is going to extract a very, very heavy toll from those it has brushed or touched. In the next few years, we are going to see a plethora of connective tissue disorders due to this nasty little bug. Myocarditis, endocarditis, pancreatitis, diabetes, vasculitis, hypertension, arthritis, pulmonary fibrosis, etc. are just a few diseases which will be post-COVID manifestations over the next few years. Already, people have started returning to the hospital with lung fibrosis, and recently there was a paper from Wuhan which spoke about 70% of those who survived the infection as suffering from severe pulmonary disorders 4 to 6 months after discharge. As of today, nobody is immune from this infection. All the population will confront the virus on one day or the other. We will have to be alert to receive it with preparation according to our age and genetic constitution which we inherit from our parents. Who are the susceptible population? Number one, people with family history of arthritis, people suffering from minor pains, minor autoimmune disorders like hypothyroidism, hypertension, diabetes, etc. Those suffering from autoimmune diseases like asthma, skin allergies, atopic dermatitis, irritable bowel syndrome, people with associated signs of arthritis without pain manifestations yet, like random low hemoglobin, random low vitamin B12, random low vitamin D, hyperacidity, low backaches, morning stiffness. Elderly people with comorbidities who have poor stress management ability and dried up normal steroid secretion. An average person secretes 30 milligrams of cortisol every day. Elderly people above 60 secrete only 8 to 10 milligrams of cortisol per day, which is not enough to meet his stress deviations. These are the vulnerable situation populations, and surprisingly, many of these give us the shock by dying young. The aggressiveness of the cytokine storm depends on the genetic constitution of the person, and in young age, they seldom suffer from any disease. But we can predict by seeing their parents what they are prone to later in life and what care they need to take in order to delay the onset of the disease that plagued their parents. Immune modulators act just like antidepressants or tranquilizers act to modulate mood swings and keep the parameters within the graph. The drugs we give does not lower the immune response, but it was already low in episodes to start with, and the body was already vulnerable to infection. We can compare our immune response and management to anger management. Some people are highly volatile, and we suggest them various therapies like yoga, meditation, etc. to calm down the verbal stresses or the circumstances of day-to-day life. Ivermectin, HCQS, Decadron, Meteron, how do they work here? These are all immune modulators which protect our own granulocytes from attacking cells to produce a cytokine storm. The virus seldom kills you. It is our inability to distinguish self from the other that kills us. The virus seldom kills us. It is a cytokine storm that will kill the human infected by the virus. Take an example of hypertension. Hypertension is a low intensity autoimmune disease, and the blood pressure medication keep it under control except from stressful conditions where it is too high. If the patient is not taking the medications, the swing may cause thrombosis or cerebral leak leading to CVA. In a similar manner, immune modulators should be in the front line of management and prophylaxis of infection. More than antiretrovirals, it is the humble and inexpensive immune modulators that will eventually save lives. Our increasing experience with the disease has shown that it is not ventilators or costly drugs that save the life. Simpler solutions like steroids, ivermectin, blood thinners, etc. are the mainstay in COVID management. Dr. John Phillips already said that when COVID vaccine is ready, everybody will pull down their shots and expose their bum for the vaccine. Vaccines are on their way, but we do not know either how efficient they will be or how long their efficacy will last. For now, the best and easiest way is to practice hygiene, social distancing, safe practices, protection, and avoid aerosol generating or kissing distance procedures, especially by the medical professional. All patients who have had a brush with disease will need continued low-dose steroids or other DMRDs for the next 2 years or more to prevent the COVID sequelae. And here I am going to share with you something very unusual and wonderful. If you have a screenshot screenshot, make a screenshot, or wait for the recording to come because the next few slides are very, very important. Ortho Global is a select group of few scientists who are researching into orthopedics, and we research into other sciences as well. And in February of this year, before this became a pandemic, based purely empirically on armchair scientific thought, a protocol was developed. And here is that protocol. Ortho Global Academic Group of Select Scientists, exactly what I just told you. And this has been successfully tried on a large number of surgeons themselves and their families. Ivermectin 12 milligram one daily, 5 tablets, fasting only, otherwise it's only half effective. Doxycycline is the cheapest but very effective broad-spectrum antibiotic, twice daily, 10 tablets only, with copious water or milk to avoid esophageal ulcerations. Monoleucast rapidly helps to clear up the chest congestion, one daily, 12 tablets, fasting with water, instant control to cough and cytokine storm. Ecosprin, blood thinner, 175 milligram, alternate days, 10 tablets. Though Dr. Mukherjee would like to give it daily for almost 3 weeks. Steroids are mainstay. We started off with Meterol, Metalprednisolone, but now we have switched over to dexamethasone, 0.5 milligram, one
This is the whole talk.
18 tablets.
The previous talk.
Zinc,
comments,
we know,
that
is of
whatever.
course
Nobody knows. I want to make
an
it
immunoprotector and
post on my
vitamin C. I'm not boasting. 60 orthopedic surgeons tested positive have recovered dramatically with this regime. On Friday, 3 days back, I had a desperate message and call from one of my friends, an orthopedic surgeon who was in the ICU with a saturation of 84 with oxygen, who was about to be started on retrovirals and costly immune modulators. I gave him this prescription. He told me that we may not be allowed to use it in the ICU. But because he had faith in me, he somehow got these and ate it. This morning, that is on Monday, 12 afternoon, his saturation is 95 without oxygen. Previously, he was not able to walk 20 meters without panting. Today, he climbed up and down the stairs. I have his voice recordings, the voice messages he sent me, and the screenshots of his chat. But because of patient confidentiality, I am not sharing you here. It has been shared on our group. With every tragic death in this pandemic, we are learning and reiterating over and over again our commitment for scientific knowledge and its spread to others. As has been told by the moderator before the start of the talk, that what we speak today may eventually take 20 years to come in the textbook. But it should. Here is Dr. Arup Mukherjee, who was the front runner in developing this therapy. Here is another doctor, Dr. Arvind Divakar Jain, who has contributed significantly to our knowledge of COVID. And here is Dr. Himanshu Kumar, who has himself had a brush, and his son, who is a senior cardiologist, has also had a brush with near death and who have survived and analyzed and studied. I owe special thanks to the friends of Ortho Global who have taught me most of this, and I thank you very, very, very much for listening to my talk. I will hand over the screen to Dr. Mithun Achi so that he can take over the moderation and we can leave the house open to questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Prakash, sir. That was a fantastic talk as always. Very informative, very exhaustive, and very much to the point. You give a totally different outlook to the problem at hand. Now we have finished both the talks by both the speakers. We also have Dr. Arup Mukherjee sir with us for the panel discussion. He will also be part of the panel that will be taking questions. Dr. Arup Mukherjee is a renowned senior orthopedic surgeon from Max Hospital, Delhi, and he's very much famous for the Mukherjee regimen and is very much interested in the immunology and allied sciences. So, welcome, Dr. Arup Mukherjee, sir. And now I open the panel to discussion, Dr. John Philip, Dr. L. Prakash, sir, and Dr. Arup Mukherjee. The first question